Federal Drive is presented by GEHA, Government Employees Health Association, proudly providing health and dental benefits to federal employees and their families. Visit GEHA.com.
The choice to claim Social Security benefits early or delay them comes down to balancing immediate income against long-term security. And that decision often hinges on factors people can't know for sure, especially how long they'll live. Here to walk through what you should be considering is Thiago Glieger, a certified financial planner with RMG Advisors. Thiago, it's great to see you again. Thanks for being here.
You too, Terry.
The Social Security Trust Fund report just recently came out and suggests that the trust fund will expire or be depleted in 2032. So a lot of people may be looking at this and going, wow, I hadn't thought about when I should draw Social Security, but I better take it while it's there. Should they take it as soon as possible or should they wait? What are the key factors that you start folks with?
You know, that's a really good question because this undeniably creates anxiety, right? So many people are counting on the Social Security Fund as a part of their retirement, and they should. They've been paying into it for a very long time. But the first thing I just want to be clear about is that the program itself is not going to go away soon. We're facing a shortfall, not a shutdown. And so what we are expected to see here is that the retirement benefits themselves could be reduced to about 78%, so almost 80% in as soon as about 6 years. Now, that's better than going away altogether, but that's still a serious problem. So to your point, as you mentioned, a lot of people are thinking, okay, you know what? I'm just going to file right now. I'm going to get myself through the door before they start making any changes. And sometimes that might mean that they are filing before what we call full retirement age. And claiming early based on fear can come back to bite you in a couple of ways. First of all, if you claim before your full retirement age, for most people that's going to be 67, this means that you are accepting a reduction nonetheless. And so how early you claim could mean that you actually are even getting less than the projected 78%. So we want to make sure people don't act too quickly just because they're based on fear. The second thing is that it is a permanent reduction. And so if you were entitled to get 100% of your benefit at 67, but you take it before then, now you could be getting tens of thousands of dollars less throughout your retirement. In some cases, hundreds of thousands of dollars less. Because remember, all of those COLAs that people are going to get over time is now based on a lower dollar amount as well. So we have to be really careful about this very permanent decision that we make. We have had funding issues in the past, and so the retirement age, some folks might remember, used to be 65. Now it's 67. So I'm sure we're going to see some potential increases of the full retirement age as well. Right now, the base of income that people pay Social Security is capped at $185,000 or so. They could remove that limit so that if people earn more, they are also paying more into Social Security. They could change the taxes. They could change the COLAs. So the point is there's a lot of levers that Congress has to affect some change and make things become a little bit better here. Let's make sure we're not acting on fear.
And Thiago, what makes the decision even a little more complicated for federal employees?
There's this unspoken rule in federal service that you're supposed to take Social Security the minute your supplement goes away. Because if you retired at minimum retirement age, 57, let's say, for a lot of folks, then you're getting the annuity supplement in most cases, which is a really nice chunk of change, helps you to bridge that gap before you get Social Security. And then you get used to having that income. And so then people say, well, now that's going away at 62. The annuity supplement goes away at 62. I'm just going to turn on Social Security so I can continue receiving that income. But then the problem is, like we talked about, you're taking a reduced amount permanently for the rest of retirement. The other thing is that we refer to income for federal retirees as the three-legged stool. And the key question is, which leg do you lean on and when? We have your FERS pension. We've got Social Security or the annuity supplement, and then you have your portfolio, which is your savings and when you draw from. The combination of how you use that income affects your taxes, which even affects how much of your pension you get to take home and Social Security. So there's a lot of moving pieces together.
Thiago Glieger is a certified financial planner with RMG Advisors. Thiago, one of the basic considerations that people often come back to is starting Social Security at their break-even point. Talk through what the break-even point is and why it might not be the best decision.
Yeah, the break-even analysis is useful, but if you look at it as just your decision-making, matrix, it's a little bit incomplete. And so what it focuses on is the age where one claiming strategy is going to catch up to another one. So for example, if you take it a little bit later, you're getting a higher benefit, but you didn't receive it for a number of years because you waited longer. So how much longer do you need to receive that benefit for before those two decisions come to a meeting point? But the issue is that it ignores other factors. One of the Social Security rules is that with, especially if you're married, if one of the members in the couple passes before the other, the survivor doesn't get to keep two Social Security benefits. They only get one. And so we often use a strategy of maximizing whoever had the highest benefit, because at least if one Social Security goes away, they get to keep the higher amount. There's other factors like, what about if there's a really bad year in the markets? Is this a good time to be making really big portfolio distributions? Should you take Social Security even a little bit earlier because it's going to be less impactful to your portfolio long term? So there's more than just one rule, like the break-even rule, that we want to look at.
There are some things about the Social Security payment that surprise people once it starts. One is that your Medicare payments come out of Social Security, right?
That's right. And Medicare isn't required for a lot of retired feds, right? Because if you get to keep FEHB, or a lot of the federal community came from the military, so if they have TRICARE, in that case, they are going to go to Medicare because TRICARE for Life does require Medicare. But your Medicare premiums are going to come straight out of Social Security, which is a little bit different if you don't have Social Security until later, if you're going to maximize it. So some people are confused about the idea of, when do I pay for out of pocket? My Social Security benefit, I was expecting one amount, but now it's less because Medicare is taking their part out of it. And then as your income goes up, because maybe you took a TSP distribution, you might have put yourself in everybody's least favorite aunt, Auntie Irma. She comes in where it adjusts your Medicare premium, and now you're paying $100 or $200 more per month for Medicare, which means even less Social Security that you're getting. So there's a lot that can surprise people.
And taxation of Social Security is another place where people get surprised.
Yeah, that's a big one. A lot of people are very focused about this idea that Social Security is a double tax because we've paid for it during our careers, right? We're paying money into the program, and then now the money is coming back out and we're paying tax on it. So it's this idea, oh my gosh, we're being doubly taxed on this. I won't go too much into the formula of how to tax Social Security because some people are taxed on nothing, others have half of it taxed. Some people have 85% of it taxed. So there's a couple of variables there. But what I want you to think about as you're listening to this for Social Security taxation is the idea that the amount of money that you've been putting into Social Security, think of that kind of like your FERS annuity contribution, right? It's the contribution that's going into this big pool of money, and then Social Security is then taking that money, they're investing it, they're growing it. And so you're getting a much bigger sum out of it than you put in. So if you're getting more money than you put in, makes sense that you might owe a little bit of tax on that extra money that you earned. So that helps us to feel a little bit better about the idea that we're paying tax on it.
Thiago, let's come back to the concept of the three-legged stool that you talked about. With all of these considerations, how should federal retirees think about coordinating Social Security payments with the rest of their portfolio?
I like folks to think about the longer-term projection. If you're going to be okay with a less Social Security amount because you took it a little bit sooner, what does that do to the long-term success of a retirement plan? Say, if you have a long-term care event and it's really expensive to take care of your health later in retirement, are you still going to have enough income? Do you have enough savings to be able to cover that because now you took a reduced benefit? The other idea is if you are delaying Social Security for a little bit longer, the longer you wait beyond full retirement age, you actually get a bonus as well. That also means, how are you going to live? Well, you might be looking at your TSP to make withdrawals. And if you're taking withdrawals from the portfolio early in retirement, it could mean that if this is a bad market, now you're selling at a loss. So if you take Social Security too early, now you're reducing the pressure on your portfolio, but it could create more pressure later on because overall you're getting less benefit from a guaranteed source like Social Security. So is not necessarily 6 of one or half a dozen of the other, but there's almost the seesaw effect that we have to weigh. Is it better to delay and get a little bit more on an ongoing basis, but have to use our money today? Or is it better to not use our money today, take Social Security at a lesser amount so that we can let our money grow and become larger sums for us later.
Certified financial planner Thiago Glieger of RMG Advisors. Thiago, thanks so much.
Thanks, Terry.
We'll post this interview at federalnewsnetwork.com/Federal Drive. Subscribe to the Federal Drive wherever you get your podcasts.